Okay, Peter raised his glass. Venga, Osvaldo, canta, canta. He swayed from side to side, ignoring the fact that he was the only one singing, and began, Ein Prosit, Ein Prosit.
What is that language?
Ein Prosit, Ein Prosit, der Gemütlichkeit.
What language are they speaking? We don't understand this.
Ein, zwei, drei, super. And he ended his glass. I stared at him disgusted. It was just another day, like any other day since Peter had arrived. Gone were our hopes of a nice, quiet summer in the Dolomites. Do you guys want to hear this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I forgot where I was. Okay, hold on. With old friends we had since our last time we lived in. I'm just gonna wait. I'll just wait.
Privacy wall.
So, this is, I don't know what draft this is, but, this is the latest one.
Oh, does it have a title yet?
Doesn't have a title yet. You can just call it, Northern Italy for now. Okay, so everybody ready? Peter raised his glass. Venga, Osvaldo, canta, canta. He swayed from side to side, and ignoring the fact that he was the only one singing, began, Ein Prosit, der Gemütlichkeit. Ein Prosit, der Gemütlichkeit. Ein, zwei, drei, super. And he upended his glass. I stared at him disgusted. This was just another day like any other day since Peter had arrived. Gone were our hopes of a nice quiet summer in the Dolomites with old friends. Friends we had cultivated on our last military tour of Sicily. Friends who had invited us to spend the summer with them every summer since 1975 in the pristine countryside of northern Italy. We looked forward to those summers, usually. Time for contemplation, long runs into the hills, lunches that stretched into the early evening hours filled with wine and stories and laughter. Osvaldo and Bice Lucchini, parents of our Italian friends, always kicked Bice's brother out of his house next door and insisted we stay there and not in some hotel. Evening bath water was heated on a wood stove, and every meal was taken next door of Bice's limited but tasty repertoire of dishes. Fish, newly caught from one of the pure glacier-cut lakes and roasted with rosemary as a second course, polenta and tacchino on Sundays, and pasta asciutta, which is dry pasta, with a condiment of sauce made from whatever meat dish we were having later. I had looked forward to these summers every year since I was 10 years old. But now that I was 16 or 17, I was pretty much disgusted with most things, but Peter was especially disgusting. Osvaldo looked uncomfortable as Peter sat back down again in his chair, but Bice drained her glass too and smiled at Peter with a nostalgic look on her face. They knew something that Osvaldo didn't want to share with the rest of us, and he wasn't sure how he was going to keep from spilling it. I stole a look at my dad, and he avoided my eyes, and my mom just smiled at me. I knew that Peter and Osvaldo had known each other. It had been idyllic until he came. He'd gotten off the train in Pordenone and called Osvaldo to pick him up. How many miles, I didn't know, but he did that. He'd jump a train one day and just go somewhere. Since he'd worked for the railways in Germany after the war ended, he got free train travel for life, and since his wife had died several years earlier, he had not much to keep him home for any extended periods.
right. Looks like we're good. So let's go around, and I'm just gonna start with the person on my left, and we'll go around and say one thing that you liked about Ms. Highfield's piece.
I loved how like flowy the words were. It like sounded really nice and smooth.
The description of the night.
Oh, same thing.
Looking forward to something at a certain age.
I like how you incorporated a different language into the piece.
I what Kat said, like the description of the night, but also like kind of describing things that they did over when they were there. Like, I heard some talking about like the hills and stuff and other places.
The grammar of the piece was very well thought out. It made everything sound like it belonged in where it was, like, the syntax of everything was very appropriate to the meaning.
To add to what Maddie said, the list of the things that made it memorable, especially though when you started getting to the different dishes, the food really stood out to me.
Great sensory details.
Just like explaining the food and how it was and describing certain foods that most people might not have known.
Just like how she was describing everything that was like.
Good sensory detail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Okay.
could see it and taste it and
Okay.
feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Lots of feelings.
Okay.
I kind of worded it as suspense, not as you want to know what's going to happen more of. I like how that was kind of between the main character and who she's talking about.
The overall talk of it just sounded so good. It made me hungry.
Like Jamera said, the sensory details were very nice to have. It made you feel like you were there in the piece.
I like the choice of the word upended. He upended his glass instead of he finished it. I just think that was a strong verb that helped me really see it.
That's all I wrote.
So
Thank
that's
you.
in mind too.
Thank you.
So what questions then did we have about any part of the piece? Something that wasn't clear or where you felt like you wanted more information?
I just kind of wanted to know when this was, like what year this was. I don't know if it was said, but I didn't catch on to that.
Why you wrote it the way that you did.
And what inspired you to write this piece?
I asked what language was at the beginning. It seemed very cool.
Yeah, same question, Scaly. Like, but worded a bit different. Like, was the language that they were speaking Italian? Because you said the piece was like Northern Italy, so.
I don't know if it was said or not, but I was confused on where at in Northern Italy did it take place.
Okay.
Mine went back to the language as well, because you said one was German and then I figured Italian, so because I'm not as familiar with both languages, maybe I was wondering like how I could differentiate between the two as a person who doesn't speak those languages.
My last one was,
I didn't have any other ones.
I didn't have any more.
Nothing else for me.
I was curious, what did you want me to get about the characters, especially Peter? I really was interested in the comment about not liking him, and then, but what? Suggestions for improving her piece.
just more details on what it was in the language.
I really liked how it was.
I kind of said a smoother transition from what seemed like what were happy memories, and it kind of shift to like a mood change to like more troubled memories, or what the character was feeling. It was kind of unstable as a transition.
I don't have any suggestions.
I'd say probably add more general detail about the location.
And I'm curious about the so what. Where are you trying to go with this? What really do you want me to connect with or get from it?
Okay.
What was my last